All right. Hello, everybody. This is Josh, also known as Yashu, and you're tuning into TLOY Talks, episode 10. Like, this is actually like the 10th official episode that we have right now. So,
Dope.
it's a perfect milestone right here. And today we have GTA based rapper Dexray, who recently released a
What's going
project
on?
a while back called Patchwork Capsule. He has a variety of like dope singles and interesting stories to tell. So, Dexray, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
And I don't know if you want
Mhm.
to tell like the people more about yourself, like in a sense too, like aside like from the rapping, like what else do you do? Like what is like Dexray like?
So, yeah. Aside from music, what I'm doing is I actually work with artists, in a cooperative business, and what we do is we help artists throw their own events, do their own shows. We actually got a show coming up in about 6 or 7 days or so. So definitely peep that as well too. Well, I mean, by the time this drops, I don't know. I think the show might be done, but yeah, we do shows quarterly. We also do a sort of development camp for newer artists that are coming into the game, students, and we teach them both music as well as like engineer work, and also just how to be a successful in 2020s.
Yeah. Now that's very interesting in that sense too. Like just like with the whole like concert series with the studio, like and helping out like the community, like in a sense too, to get artists like out of like the woodwork and like showcase their music. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really all about just making that community first and supporting that community and being able to really use that as something to stand on. I think artists are kind of too, I wouldn't say divided, but there needs to be a little bit more access given. I think that we're too closed off, especially in the GTA, especially in Toronto. And I think uh, an open channel where they can express themselves and collaborate and work together is much more important than just not doing that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I want to get into part one of this whole like podcast episode. And so I just want to start off with so where did you grow up and what was it like for you growing up in that area?
So I grew up in Saga. It was cool. Like I moved around in Saga a lot, so I was in like but I was pretty much in the Meadowville area my entire life. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty much me and my three brothers and my mom and my stepdad in like this one apartment. And we were there for a little bit, and then ended up moving around Milton when I was like 17, 18. But growing up, it was really cool because um, it was what it was whatever really. Like, it wasn't really anything spectacular, um, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. And so like from like birth until like now, like it was like a very good experience just like growing up in like both areas, like going to school and all that type of stuff.
I mean, like it is what it is. Like people, like kids do their thing, and we get involved with certain things. Sometimes and some certain things we shouldn't, but overall, I say like a lot of my experiences really helped shape how I view things. And yeah, like there weren't really a lot of negatives, but there are definitely some. There are definitely some shit that I kind of talk about in my music, things that we went through and shit. But for overall, like I have no real like I don't really have a lot of negative stories to share, or at least I don't dwell on them so much. I really kind of like look towards more of the positive things. But I keep the negatives in mind, so that way it's like a reminder of being grateful for what you have.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know like Mississauga, like they have like a lot of like well-known artists with Party Next Door,
Yep.
with Junior T, with like Nana Goody and like Ram Riddles and like the list goes on. But like, even like Mississauga, like growing up, was it well known as like an industry end or just like as a community where
Uh,
people were just
nah, it
showcasing
wasn't.
music?
It wasn't something like that. Nah, I mean, like aside from Party and like JD Era, like for those who remember him too, like he's dope too. It wasn't really like that, but now like you're starting to see more people come up. I think like the first couple of people who were popping up was like John River, you know, like he was doing his thing. He's still doing his thing too. Shout out to that man. But yeah, it was more it's been more so just small up like come ups here and there, but nothing really like as big as Party, I would say, and not really like a collective movement. But I'm starting to see the slow change in that. Like we starting to have a lot more saga artists coming up, like the ones you mentioned, Fame Holiday and Norman, a bunch of other artists, rappers, singers that are starting to pop up in Saga and shit. And it's dope. I'm excited to see the landscape of music and where it's going for that particular area. There's a lot of dope artists from Saga, period, a lot of dope producers, a lot of dope engineers, a lot of dope songstresses, songwriters. And I think now that honestly, I think now that there's more of a foundation and there's more people who were putting out stuff and people who did pave the way for us, like Party. I think now more than ever, we're starting to see a large, I don't want to say resurgence because I think that this is the first time we've ever seen this, a large wave of artists and talent coming out of Mississauga, and I'm excited for it.
No doubt, no doubt. And
Yeah.
like I don't know, like even like in Milton too, like I don't know if they're like still like big in music. Like I know like
I mean, like I sleep here. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Like I sleep here. It's like 10 minutes from Saga, so it's like I look at it like the burbs to Saga, to be honest. Like, but I'm back and forth. I'm probably gonna be touching Saga today again. Like I'm in and out the city, but I'm probably moving back like probably end of this year, to be honest. So I can't really speak on the talent from here, but I can say that they're just people from Saga. They just moved up the street, you know? So
yeah. I mean like whatever
yeah.
money like you have, you know, like you gotta find somewhere nice, you know. Like I know like everyone like from Toronto and like other areas, like they're moving out like north or out west, you know, because like, you know, prices like nowadays too for a house, it's crazy.
Bro, yeah. They need to fix that shit for real.
Yeah, nah, I definitely know what you mean. And so I don't know if you had like introduction to music at first too, like what made you like get into music in that sense?
Like honestly, I've been into music since I was like a kid, like since I was like 8. Like I sung in a choir when I was younger. I think the school choir, and kind of just was my thing. Admittedly, when I was younger, I didn't really take it too serious because I liked it because I was good at it. But then it didn't really, I wasn't really interested in it like that until I really hit high school. And then from there, I started diving more into just like hip hop specifically. I think like the first like albums I purchased, I think my aunt bought me the Eminem show, and like the uncensored version too. I don't know why she did that. I was like 9 or 10 or some shit. Um, uh, whenever it came out, I can't remember when it came out, but I was like around that age, 9 or 10 ish, and she bought me the Eminem show. And then I remember getting an Outcast TV from my auntie, and then yeah, it was pretty much just me like listening to Eminem, Outcast. Like it was both. I think it was the Love Below project, and then Speaker Box project that came out. Like I really just dig that kind of stuff. And then I was into Akon for the longest time, which like introed me to Ludacris and Styles P and whatnot. And then from there, kind of I just kept went underground for a bit. I like a lot of kinds of music, to be honest. Like I really enjoy different genres, different types of music, but hip hop was the first.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, at a certain point in your life, did you start like making music on your own, like in that sense too? And like what inspired you to make music now?
Yeah, like started when I was like 14, and I was just freestyling and like writing here and there. And then I think around like middle of the high school career, that's when I started taking it more seriously. And I did battle raps here and there. I got beat in battle raps here and there. But yeah, it was just my thing. It was always my thing. And then I guess what inspired me was like just the challenge of it, because like singing and doing all that kind of stuff was whatever to me. You know, it was like cool, something you do. Either you're good or you're not. You can train your vocals here and there, but like rap was something where you really had to think outside the box in order to be creative, you know? Like you really had to sit there and think, yo, how do I wow these people with the next bout of words that are coming out of my mouth? So that excited me. That really that really made me want to pursue this thing further, just the challenge of it. And music in general, just it being something challenging to make a successful career out of. So I think that's what really pushed me to start it, and keeps pushing me, just being able to say I accomplished something that was difficult. You know what I mean? Something that, you know, not many people can do. And I think that's what kind of inspires me. I think it's what kind of keeps me going. That and just making things with people, like seeing other people make dope things, working with other people and getting their projects out and their ideas out too. It's both creative, and it's also like, you know what I mean? It's like therapeutic.
Yeah, no doubt. Like when you mentioned like battle rap and all that, like I like remembered like that whole like aspect of battle rap in Toronto, like and like everywhere else in the GTA, with like the schools, with, you know, KOTD, like King of the Dot and all that. Like I almost
Yeah.
like slipped up right there, King of the Dot. Also like, you know, certain areas like that would have like these battle rap moments, like you would have to like watch them on YouTube to see like random moments. Like I think there was this guy who said like, you know, I would beat Bishop Brigante and all that. You're like a fake Bishop Brigante, and then this random guy like who looked like him said, "My name is Bishop Brigante," and Don Brigante and all that. Well, it's like my last name Brigante, but then it led to a fight. The same guy that got beat up also did like a battle rap in like I think Alexandra Park in Toronto too. And then
Oh shit.
yeah. And there was like some yeah, and there was like some crazy iconic moments, you know, in Toronto too, like in Brampton actually. I don't know if you watched the Tory Lanez battle rap by any chance.
Yeah, I remember when he was a kid, like he used to battle. He battled like Tech Rhymes. He's Toby now, that artist he battled.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that shit.
Yeah, like it
You
was
know what
just
I
like
mean?
it was just like a crazy moment at that time too. And then like even like Atlanta, like, you know, I was like watching Black's battle raps. There was like I think a 15-minute clip where he actually battled like Young Thug like at that time too. And like they were like in high school, like in the early 2010s. So that was
Yeah.
like a moment right there, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
True. So what would you say would be like your favorite like battle raps of like all time, whether it's like indie or like mainstream and all that?
Um, Honestly, the one battle between Daylight and who was he battling? I can't even remember who was battling, but he had this one crazy setup in this punchline where he was talking like he's talking about how he spits out a razor. He's like, "Yo, it's like I spit out my like the razor come out, you get another cut and another cut. It looked like the seatbelt don't work, and I'm trying to buckle up." And I was like, "Oh, like bro, the way he came off with that whole delivery and that scheme was crazy. It was crazy. It's one of my favorite things." And I think Daylight versus Tay Rock. That's another crazy battle. Like I think it's one of my top 5 craziest battles ever. Daylight's a monster. But yeah, I like, you know what I mean. I think I wish to see more of that in Toronto too. I think we need to get some. I think having more people coming from the States and battling our league will help sharpen our competitors in that league too. I think we need more of that for ourselves.
Yeah. As far as like for me too, I'd say my favorite like battle raps of all time would have to be like the legendary like Loaded Lux battle rap versus I think some like rapper like from out of state. Like this is like when he had the tuxedo, the casket, and
Yeah,
then
that was
like
murder. No, that was not murder. Sorry, that wasn't murder. That was Calico, I think.
I think yeah, Calico,
It's
yeah. And
Calico.
then
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
that
was
was
like
fire.
more about like that bar about like, you know, drug dealing and, you know, being like a lost ass like nigga and all that. Like that was
Yeah,
like probably like the pinnacle of battle rap. Like I don't think that like nothing can compare like in that sense too, because I think when like Loaded Lux like constructed like that rhyme scheme and, you know, just like the punchlines and hard hitting like flow, like that was like, beyond crazy. And like and his setup, like, having people wearing like all black, like the dresses, like him wearing like the tuxedo like during his like return to battle rap and all that, like that was iconic. Like you could have like Busta Rhymes was there, like Diddy was there, I think Q-Tip was there too, like I don't even know. But then the reaction was just like bewildering in that sense too. And then I think Sue Surf's battle, I think when he said like I'll eat bread and then me too or something like that. Like I think I'd have to find that clip, but that was like very like interesting as well too. And then I think like this was like not even like in the leagues with like, the Black versus like Young Thug one, and then the Tory Lanez versus Toby. Like those were like two dope ones if we're talking about like,
Yeah.
out of state ones and like Toronto. Like I think, yeah, just getting back into everything else too. So just getting into like part two, more into the music side. So which genres or artists were you mainly like influenced by like in your sound?
Honestly, like I just make what I want to make, to be honest. But like I would say influence in my sound. I would say right now, like Boldy James, Benny the Butcher. I'm listening to a lot of like I've been listening to that Gunna project for a while, like a good amount. I think it's dope. I'm kind of like experimenting with more melody and stuff like that now, and I'm going into that kind of direction. And I'm dropping like supposed to be dropping an EP next month. I'm sitting on like 12, so I'm just like trying to figure out the best way on how I'm gonna put them out. I was gonna do a month to month, but I'm trying to like figure out if I just want to stack them and drop them two at a time and like call them like a double mixtape or a mixtape or whatever they call it, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, like I don't really listen to music too much when I'm working on music, so it's kind of like when I'm out of that work mode, I listen to more music. But I've been working on stuff for a bit right now. I'm actually even writing for artists too, so that's both that stuff's keeping me busy.
Yeah, no doubt. And would you like to work with musically someday, like if you had the chance?
um Danny Brown for sure. Definitely Danny Brown for sure. Um, the man I'm out working right now, like I'm trying to stack some records with them. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of I kind of just want to work on my stuff right now, and like I never really think about collabing too tough. It's always like what am I trying to do right now? Like what sound am I on right now? And it's like I currently I'm just in that space right now where it's like I just want to work on my own stuff, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't know if you have like a creative process, like when you make music, and like what would like a day in like making music or recording music be like for you in that sense?
Um, yeah, I mean, like I think we all do. For me, it's just really I always write. Like I'm always writing. So like whatever I'm working on, like in sporadic moments, I bring that to the studio and we kind of flesh those ideas out. So working on a couple songs right now. Like I'm writing a couple songs right now. Um, and I'm supposed to be recording some of them tomorrow. I'm hooking up with my engineer and producer. Well, one of my engineers and producers, like he's a guy I work with every so often. So we're gonna cook up some stuff and see what we get out of that. But process wise, like it really just I write a lot and I kind of make sure just to always have something to tuck when I gotta go do something.
Yeah, no doubt. And when I was like searching your music during that time, like I think like when I found out more about you, like I was like finding out like for my playlist back in I think October or November, and I found it like Patchwork Capsule and then the singles. So when talking about Patchwork Capsule, like what's like the creative process and inspiration for making it?
I was bored in my house in the beginning of quarantine. And I'm like, all right, let me just slap some records together. But I ended up writing the whole my bad. I ended up writing the whole project about in a week or so, a week or week, 2 weeks, and then took about a month and a bit to record and get edited and all that kind of stuff before we put it out. So that was really just me trying to see, like, test sounds and whatnot and play with some stuff. And the single I've released since then is more of a solid version of like the sound I was looking to move towards, and I'm liking the reception on it so far. So I think we're gonna keep going into that direction.
Yeah, no doubt. And you had Wicked, you had I think this other single that I'm trying to find in my mind, and then Don't Lie actually. So when talking about like those three singles, like what inspired you to make them?
Just working on stuff. Like I'd be working on records, so it's not really like a like the stars aligned or whatnot. No, I was just working on records. Some of them I just threw out just to see what would happen. Like in my mind, I didn't really think would catch like that. It's doing it did decent, you know what I mean? And Wicked actually, for me, Wicked I wasn't even gonna put out, and mind just like, nah, just stop, see how it works, see what happens. And yeah, I think it's like my biggest song right now. So
Yeah, no doubt. And I know I didn't really ask this question, but how did you form like the studio by any chance? Like, when did you decide on like co-founding like a studio and all that?
that was like a group decision that was done in April, I think April 21st or something like that, around April 20th ish or whatever. And that was oh man, again, that was me and a couple of artists in the city. I think like we had like 11 founding members to start with that studio. And the idea was just to basically make a studio that like gives artists as much as they need, the support they need, to really make something of themselves in the industry. So it's not just a studio. We have production, A&R, marketing, PR, all that type of stuff, and we're just building up the pieces together right now. But yeah, it was just really trying to make sure that artists had a place to go and work and connect and build.
Yeah. Nah, because it's like actually like very interesting, like when you talked about it, because we don't see like a lot of that like in Toronto, like nowadays, aside just from like typical like studios. Like sometimes they'll be in injunction of having like a photo studio in like a recording studio, so like Midnight Studios, for example, or it'll just be like a plain studio like Major Music or all these other like music studio, like all these other like studios in the city. But then when talking about yours, like I could like find it from like other sources like you that kind of do something like sort of like similar to. But I do feel like having more of those like should be the plan, just for helping people like music wise, just in PR, just in branding, just in having like a spot for people to work on. And yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the main focus, to be honest, like having that background, or sorry, that foundation, that backing. Um Honestly, we have this thing where we're like, yo, we're just trying to turn the GTA into Atlanta, because like we just want all the studios to be connected. I feel like Atlanta has a good representation of what it looks like to have a solid industry with a solid foundation and a framework that people can work within. And I don't think we have that for like the GTA. I think we have it for Toronto. I think that's a whole scene out there, but it's like there's so many parts that get left out, and we're trying to like catch that up into it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think we're getting into part three right now, but then I forgot something about part one. I don't know if you've had like any other like interesting like experiences or stories like in your life that you want to talk about. Like I don't know if you've had like a crazy story that you want to share with people and all that, or like it's been like tame so far.
It's been, I mean, it's a bunch of stuff, but we let it through, we let it come out through the music. You know what I mean? We let it go out through our channels and whatnot. Yeah, so much as I can say about that.
Yeah, no doubt. I truly understand, and we're gonna have to find more for the music. So yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So getting into part three right now, and it's interesting right now in this climate because everything's like almost opening up in Toronto. Mask mandates are gonna be like removed, I think, on March 21st, I think, and then
Yeah.
lots of like festivals and events are coming back. Tourism's gonna be like very big. I don't know what are your thoughts on that, like on things opening up again, like in Toronto?
I think it's good. I honestly don't have much faith in this government. So like Ford is Ford. So if we actually get that when we're expecting to get that, that'd be great. I'd definitely like to see Caravana open up this year and all these other parties open up this year, make it easier for us to do our thing, like the events that we're throwing and shit. So hopefully that's the case. I don't have much faith in what this man says though. So
Yeah, no doubt. And even with like a lot of concerts and festivals too nowadays, just like there's some that were like recently opened, like the Amine show, Tyler the Creator, like they came by to Toronto. Now I
yeah.
think it's like a whole lot of other stuff too with Conway, with Action Bronson, some R&B
Oh,
singers are
Action
coming.
Bron's coming out?
Yeah, he's coming, I
Yeah.
think like later in May with Earl Sweatshirt and Boldy James. Like they're
Oh, that's
doing like
fire.
yeah, so they're gonna be performing at Drake's new venue in Toronto. So that's gonna open up. I know Veld's gonna be like very big, like as ever with like Gunna and like Polo G coming by and like Coil Ray, and then I think like some festivals like up north, like out like east, with Montreal and Ottawa, like Oshiaga, and then also RBC Blues Fest. So like that's gonna be big too. As far
Okay.
as like other like hip hop shows, I know like Saba's gonna come through to Toronto. I think Little Sims and then Dave, like for the UK route, and then a whole lot of other
Yeah,
stuff. So if you want to check those out, like go to Ticketmaster or go to like some promoters page, So
for sure.
yeah. But like in your opinion, do you feel like Toronto will go back to what it was like before like March of 2020, like when
Nah,
everything was just already all right? Or do you feel like
nah.
it needs time?
It's not gonna go back. Like it's gonna be like admittedly it's probably gonna be like a close resemblance to what it was before, but like with the whole mandate and all that kind of stuff happening, I don't think it's gonna go back to the exact same thing that it was before. I think this is a new normal we gotta adjust to, and hopefully it's for the better. Hopefully we come out of this and approach things differently. I already see it around the city. I already see people like, different talks and different business ventures and business opportunities popping up and all sorts of new blossoming, blossoming, my bad, entrepreneurship that's like coming throughout the city. So I don't think it's gonna be the same, but I think it's a good start. Like hopefully it could be a good start to something new.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean too. And then I think also like when COVID actually did happen, like I don't think people really cared as much about like deaths going on like with people dying from COVID because some could be from complications or from or from the vaccine at certain points. Like some people might have died, from certain issues from the vaccine. We don't know yet, but that's just like
Yeah.
a state of like the thing. But I have seen more people actually die from like suicides, overdoses, and like even just like businesses being lost. Like not people that I know, but like from what I've seen from like, from a friend of a friend or from, people talking on Twitter. So like that's kind of like what COVID had happened, like rather than like the actual like dev. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. That's just like what I have to say for a bit too. I'm not saying that like there wasn't deaths like related to COVID, but there were more people dying from like other stuff and businesses being lost too. So that's just kind of like what you had to say, what I had to say for a bit. So, but
Yeah.
moving on, the Russia versus Ukraine situation, it's affecting Russia like completely with everything being shut down, with, Putin like losing support and with families like losing their loved ones and people dying like in Ukraine. So, and like even like with the whole like immigration status for, refugees and people of color like living in Ukraine, like not being able to access like the areas. But like in your opinion, in that sense too, like what are your thoughts on the Russia versus Ukraine situation?
Like the war. Uh, Bro, there's a lot of thoughts I have on it. Honestly, we just need to make sure that we're like we need to make sure that we're taking care of our people first and foremost here. I think the U.S. needs to stay the fuck out of this. I think NATO needs to, or NATO really needs to stay out of this. And I think the European countries need to really figure out what they're going to do with the situation. If I don't believe Russia would stop at Ukraine, I think it's going to be something that becomes much deeper than that. But hey, either way I look at it is either or. I can't control any of this, so I try not to ponder on it too tough, but definitely make sure that we are showing support for those who are fighting for their lives in Ukraine, and definitely making sure that we donate to any causes that are directly helping these people. Yeah, as much as I can say on that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like what I would agree with too. Like, just like focus on like what's going on like right here and all that. Just even with the economy that's trying to go back to normal in that sense too. But I do feel like we should stand in solidarity with Ukraine, like just based on that situation. I know just like with what's going on with like Western like businesses and products, just like blacklisting like Russia, everything. I think it's just like the bare minimum right now, and not something that people are taking seriously as much too. Aside
Well,
from
I mean, it's more than blacklisting. Like, there's a ton of sanctions on Russia right now. Like, their economy is getting really taking a hit. I think the ruple's down to like 1,000. I think it's like, I don't know how many points it's dropped, but its value's dropped. Russian people can't even withdraw more than $10,000 at a time in any currency in the country. So they're definitely, it's definitely affecting them. But yeah, I think it's just difficult. It's just a difficult thing to work on in terms of just like solution, because like I'm not a politician. I don't know the best solution in this matter. One hand, if you do lend assistance, that could start World War III. Another hand, if you just let things be as they be, Russia might take Ukraine. Now, Ukraine has been doing a great job fighting back, but there's still loss of life here, and that's, I think, the most upsetting part is just the loss of life. I think, yeah, it's I think we just need to stand with solidarity with what they're doing, with what's going on right now in Ukraine. Stand in solidarity with Ukrainians, and just hope this ends soon.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean too. And just moving on to like a lighter note too. I don't know if you've seen like the Jeen-Yuhs documentary like on Netflix by any chance.
Yeah, I watched like the first episode. I gotta watch the second and third, but I'm just like working on stuff. So when I get the chance, I kind of like, kick back and check it out here and there. I will say that it's made me appreciate Kanye and where he, like, his whole struggle and the amount of effort it's taken him to get to where he is now. And his humble beginnings, you know what I mean? It's dope to see.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. I mean, I watched all 3 episodes, and like, it is like an exciting journey, like from start to the end. I don't want to give out like any like spoilers, like in that sense too, like even though it's like already like in public record, but I do feel like, it gets more deep into the change of Kanye, like in that sense too. And we can even talk about like just like with his new project coming up, Donda 2. I don't know if you've listened to the first Donda by any chance, but I don't know if you
Yeah.
felt like. So do you feel like Donda 2 will be up to par with Donda, or do you feel like it's just a different sound?
I mean, isn't it coming out on that stream player thing first and foremost?
Yeah, with the stem player, yeah, but
Yeah,
I think you have to
I'm
pay.
not gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it. So I'm not gonna know until it comes out on streaming services, to be honest. Um, man, he's the GOAT. Like, he's one of the greatest. I personally, just a couple records that I'm not really a fan of, but like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is one of the best albums of all time. So, there's that. Um, yeah. Other than that, I'm probably not gonna listen to it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, I know, like with me, I do feel like with the stem player, like it is like a great like marketing source in that sense too, but bad, within the general fan base like right now of Kanye fans, because I know some people are just like college students or just people wanting to save money and they'd rather get it from Spotify than anything else too, or Apple Music. But I do feel like it helps with Kanye, like in that sense too, of attaining ownership and attaining like funds in that sense. Just it's just kind of similar to buying something off Bandcamp in that sense too. Like even without like the whole like physical like product, you're buying music, you're supporting the artists like throughout the way, and like they receive those funds. It's not going to be from a label that comes to a PR company that comes to management. It's going to come straight to the artist in that sense too. But I think even with Kanye's situation, he might have to share some with the management, but I don't think like Def
I mean,
Jam's like
he's a billionaire. So, well, I mean, he's worth a billion. Yeah, artists have been selling shit for time. The player's cool though. Like I fuck with like the idea. Like you get the stems and shit, but like yeah, it's other than the player itself, like it's just another product he's selling.
yeah, no doubt. And just like even talking about like music right now. So what are your thoughts on like the current like mainstream scene today, like on like what's like relevant right now? Do you like it, or you're not like a fan of it, like in that sense
Baby's
too?
on a fucking hot streak. The baby's a fucking problem. Like he's on a really good streak right now. I think if he's able to get 2 more solid projects under his belt, I think he's gonna be like GOAT status. Real shit. Like 2 or 3 more solid projects. Like if he can hit like a Kanye run where he's doing like 3 back-to-back projects and they're all like just classic, he's goated for real. Like him, Lil Durk is really making moves. I fuck with Nardo Wick. There's a lot of, it's dope. Like I like the scene and where it is right now because a lot of mainstream shit. It's much more diverse. You have like all a bunch of different sounds. Like trap is really at a all-time high as usual. You got the resurgence of boom bap again with Benny the Butcher and Griselda in general. I fuck with the entire movement. It's one of my favorite resurgences I've seen so far. And then you got the younger crowd who are fucking with hyper pop and all this type of next shit. So I think music honestly is in a really good place. I think it's just been progressively getting better, even though there's a lot more of it in terms of just saturation. There's still a lot of gems that are being made. And I think if we continue to nurture the artists and shit that are coming through, and really providing opportunities for young talent to thrive and succeed, I think we're just gonna get more dope shit.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean. And I don't know if we can equate that to the Toronto GTA music scene like right now. Like, how do you feel about it at the moment? Do you feel like there should be some improvement, or you feel like it's like
Cool.
fun?
Like I think niggas are just lazy, to be honest. Like there's a couple of really dope artists. There's a lot of really dope artists from Toronto. I just think that like it's just shitty that like a lot of these dope sounds that are being made, they gotta go to the States first. For Toronto, we're really still stuck on like one type of sound, and I think we have so much more room for more. We have a lot more room to just expand with what we're currently doing. And a lot of artists are doing it, but I think there just needs to be more of a focus on from the blogs and their perspectives on that type of sound and that type of music. Although we got dope shit, Doobie just dropped some dope shit. Northside Benji's been killing it, you know what I mean? And all those artists in that lane, they've been doing their thing, but I think there needs to be more focus on other shit that the artists do. Like for me, it's always felt like Toronto is really either like trap shit or R&B, and both sides feel like unless you leave the city and go to LA or go to Atlanta or go to Miami, you're not really moving. So I think there needs to be a lot more work involved in order for that to not be a thing anymore. I think we need to build more grassroots operations that can take us to newer heights. And I think the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we start working together more, and allowing ourselves to really collaborate and build, as opposed to like moving separately. Doesn't make sense. There's not enough resources to move separately like how people in the States do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. like even in that sense too, like I do kind of like agree with what you're saying too. I mean, Six Bus tried to do it with the albums, but it had like more of a street rap perspective. Like you don't see like any conscious or like alternative artists like on there, like a Sean Leon or a Jazz Cartier and all that. Like it's just your typical like Toronto street
They just
rappers.
want trap shit. They don't really. They're not really trying to push. Like they're not really trying to innovate sounds. Like, I don't think that's what Six was is for. I think more of a
Yeah.
public media outlet. But yeah, they're not. I wouldn't. It would surprise me if Six Bus was trying to innovate sounds and help push different sounds in Toronto. Because that's not really the demographic. But the fuck shit with the clout demons, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. So.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain people who try to do it with like Push the Wall too, you know, having like street rappers and like people in the alternative scene like come by to speak more on their stuff and the freestyles. Like it worked out for a bit too. And then I know like if we do have it, like maybe have like a street rapper, sorry about that, work with like more of like an indie alternative artist in that sense too. So like, you know, just like a Pressa and Havaya Mighty like collab, like that would be like kind of dope. Or like a Northside Benji and like Save collab, that would be dope too. Or like
I mean, as long as it sounds good, you know what I mean?
yeah, like
Yeah.
and you know like having like more like Toronto based shows so that people like can do like events and such, like that would actually be dope, like without the police like harassing them and all that. Like I do feel like those shows should like happen in that sense too. And then even, you know, having like a Toronto based like grassroots like label, like as you mentioned, you know, just like having, you know, artists from like certain backgrounds like being a label, like being like the face of Toronto. Like Six Bus tried it. It worked to some degree, but it's not as like what people wanted to see. But like I do feel like if you get like someone from other roots, then like it'll be
The
dope. So
answer is in another label. Like it's not gonna like it. We can't, especially in Canada, we can't continue to try and emulate what's happening in the States. We don't have the same resources. We don't have the same population. We don't have the same access to venues. So it can't be something that we've been trying for decades. You know what I mean? It has to be something that allows artists more opportunity, but at the same time, there has to be some sort of framework to establish and connect all of these artists together. It's kind of like again what we're doing, but yeah, like I don't even think artists should be looking for the label support. If anything, they should be looking towards getting situations set up with their publishing and getting situations set up with like brand deals and shit. Then move into a label. The label's just a bank. You can really realistically make a business plan, go to the bank right now and get a loan for your shit. You get way better interest rates. You know what I mean? Like it's, I would, I'm really looking forward to seeing artists take advantage of what of the opportunities and the resources that are available to Canadians. Like our grant system is really dope in the sense where we're getting a lot of money just for the arts. And then states, I don't think they have a system like that. So I really think it's just creating a system that best utilizes what we currently are being provided by the funding bodies in Canada and making it work better for artists.
yeah, no, I think I agree kind of like in a sense too. Like I think, you know, SoCan and Factor were trying to do it, but maybe like not to like a high extent. But you know, if it works, it works. You know, like hopefully Toronto or like just Canada in general will be like at a higher level, like musically. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next for you right now? And do you have any like closing remarks that you want to say?
Bro, I just got projects I'm dropping, the shows that are popping off. We're parking level 9. We got artist development. You know, I'm just working. That's it. I got a single dropping this month. I got a single dropping next month. I got a single dropping the month after that. So just be on the lookout for new stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is episode 10, a very huge milestone for TLOY, like in a way too, like TLOY Talks. And with Dexray, thank you for coming by, speaking on your piece. And this episode is going to be available like on all platforms when released, Spotify, YouTube, Sounder. So don't hesitate to check it out like when you like stream it. And this is Josh, also known as Yashu, signing off.
Peace.